Happy, probably late April Fools, everyone, because today we are covering Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is based off the book that Roald Dahl wrote. Probably said that wrong, and we all knew that anyway. But you probably care more how this film is going to fit into an episode of this show. So let's see how this will work and get into the film. The movie begins with kids running out from school and not looking both ways before crossing the road. Have they not seen the new Scary Movie trailer? Go to a candy shop where the owner starts singing, and I noticed that the film is a musical, but nothing important happens here anyway, and they just talk about candy.
Candyman. The Candyman can
be my victim.
Protagonist, Charlie Bucket, does paper rounds and gets threatened by a janitor who says nobody ever leaves Willy Wonka's factory. Would you say this film isn't scary? He comes home with bread that he brought for dinner, since Charlie and his family are struggling with financial issues. Charlie and his granddad talk about Willy Wonka's factory and some guy named Slugworth, and they also wonder who's helping Willy Wonka run his factory. Some kid in Charlie's class mentions that Willy Wonka has hidden golden tickets in the chocolate bars, and they allow people who find them in the factory, and if they win, a lifetime supply of chocolate. These golden tickets also make the perfect Halloween costume. Just look how awesome I look. One of these golden tickets have been found by a kid named Augustus Gloop, who is fat. Which is not me being mean, but just look.
Mr. Gloop, would you mind saying...
The next ticket is found by a kid named Veruca, or I guess a factory worker, since she basically owns them, because she's a rich, spoiled kid who's literally named after a type of wart. Another ticket is found by Violet, whose flaw is that she chews gum and is rude. And that's basically it. Charlie's mum supports Charlie and gives him the confidence to try find the tickets after he nearly gives up. And then she starts singing when he leaves because this is a musical. Mike, who has found another ticket, likes movies, which is just so terrible. Who could do such a thing? Charlie and his grandpa Joe open up a chocolate bar which doesn't have a golden ticket inside. Some guy finds a fifth and final ticket, which turns out to be fake anyway. Whilst Charlie is upset about not finding any tickets, and his teacher was basically bullying him for being poor, he finds a quarter in the drain. He buys a chocolate bar, which actually contains the last golden ticket, where a massive horde of adults try taking it from a kid, which is mean but unfortunately realistic. There was a theory that the shop owner was supposed to give the last ticket to the person he believed deserved it the most, because he grabbed such a specific bar, but I'm not sure. The person who has been talking with the other ticket winners turns out to be Slugworth, who's trying to steal a everlasting gobstopper, offering Charlie $10,000 if he does. Charlie tells his family about the golden ticket and invites Grandpa Joe to come along, who suspiciously learns he can stand up after 20 years. He doesn't have to do anything normally, but stands up when he wants to. He does struggle walking, but he's fine the rest of the movie, and starts singing and literally dancing about how happy he is about finding the golden ticket. We go to the factory where we finally meet Willy Wonka, who comes out his factory with a limp, and then does a perfect somersault, revealing he was faking his limp, which was added by his actor, Gene Wilder, so the audience wouldn't trust him from the start. Willy Wonka makes the children sign a contract where they don't even know what they're signing, which would have been important to know. Willy Wonka leads the guest in a cramped room, where they leave through the entrance but go to a different place. And then they go into a room that decreases in size. We finally get into the place everyone imagines when they think of Willy Wonka, which is the candy room, with the chocolate waterfall and candy all around. Willy Wonka sings pure imagination while the guests run around eating the room. But realistically, most of the pops are likely unedible, such as the cut that Willy Wonka eats, and the chocolate waterfall reportedly smelling disgusting whilst filming. We see the workers that Charlie and his grandpa were talking about, which are called Oompa Loompas, from an island called Loompa Land. And they seem more excited than the ones from the Willy Wonka experience. Poor girl didn't get a break. Augustus falls into the chocolate river and gets sucked into a pipe that drags him into a fudge room never to be seen again. And Willy Wonka genuinely does not care.
Do something! Help. Police. Murder.
Augustus could have survived this better by staying away from the chocolate river when he could have drowned, especially when he couldn't swim. Or he could have stayed away from the edge because he's vertically challenged. Oompa Loompas just sing about how fat Augustus is, calling him as fat as an elephant and mentioning how much he loves eating sugar. The rest of them get onto a boat where they go into a tunnel where people with epilepsy can't watch this part. Sorry. It becomes actually scary where we see random images like Slugworth, insects crawling on people's faces, and a actual chicken's head being cut off in a kids' film. This iconic childhood ruining scene becomes even scarier when Willy Wonka ominously starts singing and then starts screaming, which is crazy that all this is allowed in the kids' film again.
The danger must be growing, for the rowers keep on rowing, and they're certainly not showing any signs that they are slowing.
But hey, what do I know? Because apparently Watership Down and Animal Farm are also kids' film, which I could technically cover on this channel. We then go into the next room, which apparently holds secret recipes that can't be shown to the rest of the world, especially Slugworth, who Willy Wonka mentions by hand. Willy Wonka accidentally creates that iconic meme while showing the guests a machine that isn't meant to be shown, which produces everlasting gobstoppers, which he gives to the children. He then shows everyone a 3-course meal gum.
Course dinner.
Bull.
No, roast beef, but I haven't got it quite right yet.
Of course, the kid who likes gum snatches it, much to the warning of Willy Wonka. And when Violet eats the gum, she becomes a blueberry, becoming actually violet and almost as wide as Augustus. Almost. She then leaves to be squeezed before she explodes. She could have survived this better by just listening to Willy Wonka when he tells her not to eat it. Especially since the gum is magical and a work in progress, which do not clash together. They try wolf fruit candy things that Robot Chicken makes a funny joke about.
Tastes like strawberries. The snozberries taste like snozberries.
Ew. These carrots taste musky.
Oh, damn Oompa Loompas!
Charlie and his grandpa drink something they're not supposed to and start floating, where they literally just saw a walking balloon on why that's a stupid idea. They start floating towards a fan that will cut them up, but luckily they start burping, which lets them float down. They would have survived this anyway, since there was a beam protecting them from the fan. We see a room with geese that lay golden eggs, which Veruca obviously wants for herself, and makes a whole song and dance, wrecking the room and annoying the Oompa Loompas. But she gets dumped down a shaft, which calls her a bad egg. She could have survived this better by not standing on a chute that would barely hold anyone's weight anywhere, especially if she was Augustus sized. The Oompa Loompas get revenge, singing about her being a brat and blaming her parents for spoiling her. Characters then go onto some car, which shoots out foam everywhere, and was actually extremely toxic on set, making some of the actors extremely ill. The 2 final kids go into a room where they can shrink down items, which is basically useless since it makes a giant chocolate bar smaller, which nobody wants. especially Augustus. Mike then shrinks himself down into a smaller size and is sent with the Oompa Loompas to be stretched out, which may be bad since Willy Wonka says,
"Oh no, I won't hold you responsible."
Mike could have survived this by not just shrinking himself down, since that was a massively stupid idea anyway. Charlie doesn't get the chocolate lifetime reward anyway, because under the contract that he signed, he betrayed the rules by drinking the floating soda. Charlie gives back the everlasting gobstopper, and Willy Wonka is excited because he passed the loyalty test, like a jealous girlfriend. Slugworth was hired by Willy Wonka to see if the kids would betray him and get the $10,000 instead of Willy Wonka's trust. They go into a glass elevator which shoots up into the sky and has some dodgy CGI in the air. But I don't care because this film is old and everything else looks amazing. Willy Wonka reveals he's giving the factory away to Charlie and his family, which will make their life better. And then the movie ends. Now that we have finished wonking our willies, I will rank the survivability of this movie and how much I liked it in a tier list. We know that the average person will survive Willy Wonka, since nobody dies in this movie anyway. From what we know, I think that Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory belongs in the S tier, since it's just such a nostalgic, fun time and the practical work is amazing. I hope you enjoyed today's video still, even though it was a bit of a change of form because of April Fools. And we may cover more non-horror films in the far-ish future. There is still a blue pumpkin somewhere in this video. Try to find it, comment it, and I'll pin it, basically. This has been You Versus, and I'll see you next time.
Dad, can you take Mr. Hop tonight? He scares me.
Come on now, Ruby. What would Nana think if she heard you say that?
But
She made him just for you. Look, I'll leave your nightlight on. Just try and get some sleep, yeah? Good night.
Good night.